I Spy, Chapter 3. I'll begin by saying to you that every one of us human beings, when you're going for a new job, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. And I'm sure you'll agree with me with that. Now bear in mind, I've got to tell you that by this time I was 37 years of age. And by the time 37 comes, you're a grown man and I've been on my own 2 feet and everything else. And I was told to go meet a man called Paco at the petrol station at Las Chafiras. Now, if any one of you can actually imagine this, I got in my car downstairs, I was excited, I was nervous. But because of probably the job that I'd been doing for all those years before or what have you, I was also a little bit confident, overconfident maybe. So just to give you an example, I started my engine, I made sure I was clean and shaven and hair done, and I started on my way from where I lived at the time, which is just outside of Las Galletas, up to Las Chafiras, which is about, I don't know, a 10-minute drive. And of course, there I am, driving along, knowing that I'm going for a taxi interview. And then suddenly it dawned on me that although I'd lived there for all those years that I'd been driving on the road and everything, I didn't know the name of one road. The only thing I knew was the motorway was a TF1. I knew hotels, some. Oh my God, I knew where the petrol station was. I knew areas, but I didn't. Oh God. So you can imagine, the next 8 minutes of that journey was a stomach-churning, mind-bending nervousness. At the time I was a smoker, so you can imagine, it was one fag after another. And I'm driving. And I remember driving slower and slower and slower as I was trying to approach Las Chafiras, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? Las Chafiras was in view. There was the bingo, and then there was a petrol station. And I'm driving up, and I was sweating. I kept telling myself to keep calm, everything will be all right, don't worry about everything. I pulled on the forecourt, and lo and behold, there was this white Mercedes estate with a little tiny fella stood waiting. And I got out of the car, shook myself together, shook my tail feathers, and I walked over. Paco, he said, Marco. I went, oh. I shook his hand. Of course, the rest of the conversation was in Spanish. When I do actually sit down and redo this video, I will be doing it for my family and my friends in Tenerife, where they'll be able to actually understand every word. Please forgive me. Muchachos, enfermería hay ya en Tenerife. Es que la próxima vez que voy a acordar eso, me voy a hacerlo en canario, ¿vale? Entonces vosotros podéis entenderlo. Gracias. Oh, yeah, I do speak Spanish. Anyway, Paco was a lovely fella. He was 4 foot nothing. And he was the, if you like, the Canarian equivalent of a gypsy. The worst of it was, though, he also had a lisp. Now, I'm not knocking anybody that's got a lisp. But if any of you have ever tried to learn a foreign language, even when you get to grips with it, all of a sudden you meet somebody that speaks lisp. And especially when they've got a very broad accent, they become extremely difficult to understand. But Paco was very, very welcoming and warmly. He gave me a handshake, he gave me a hug. And he basically said, come on, son. He said, don't be nervous. Little did he realise that I actually needed the toilet. I was so nervous. He said, come on. He said, let me take you around and let me show you. Introduce you to the other guys and girls. Well, this ain't bad. I got on the passenger side of his Merc and we left Las Chafiras petrol station. We took a right and we started to head towards, if you like, the road that takes you down to Los Abrigos. Or if you take your first right after that, you go into a place called the Golf del Sur, which basically speaks for itself. The golf courses in the south. But the only way to explain it to anybody that's never been there is this was, if you like, a village, if you like, or an area. There was like a lollipop. The stick of the lollipop was the road in. And then it was a one-way circuit around a big circle. That in the centre of all this, there was a shopping precinct and there was hotels and there was self-catering, you name it. Quite busy. Nice place. So, of course, I'm with Paco, speaking only in Canarian. And we're driving down this stick of the lollipop, if you like, heading into the Golf del Sur. When you first hit the Golf del Sur, on the left-hand side was a place called Las Adelphas, which originally was a timeshare place, self-catering, what have you. The first part of it was completely run down. And then you went a little bit further down, and on your left-hand side you had Grandy O'Donnell's bar, Irish bar, which was a brilliant bar. I miss it a lot. On the other side of the road you had a place called Green Park. If anybody had the sort of privilege of staying at Green Park, you'll know it's an absolute toilet. Or it was then. It wasn't a very nice hotel. But as we approached Green Park, I'm chatting away. He's calming my nerves. He's doing quite a good job of it. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. And all of a sudden, there stood two, should we say, females. I'd say in the 20s. And they've got the hand out trying to wave down the taxi. Paco then says to me, I'll pull over, we'll pick these people up, just so that I can show you how to treat a claim. I'm sorry. But, when you think, how to treat a claim? Oh, well, unless it gets in the back of the car and it's got two heads like a Medusa and carrying a shotgun, I'm really not that bothered. I'm going to be nice with everybody. But still, he pulled over. The two females got in the back of the car. And of course, one of them blurted out to the driver where she wanted to go. Now, I've also noticed that in the last couple of chapters that I've done, I've actually mentioned the London accent a couple of times. But please forgive me, this is not picking on anybody from London in any way, shape or form. It just so happened to be. But I'm guessing that these two girls were from London or from around about that area, purely by the accents. Again, I'm going to have a go at the accents, but you'll have to forgive me. So, this girl in the back, obviously, in the best Spanglish, as we may call it, Spanglish, she says, all right, mate. Hola. Hola meaning hello in Spanish. All right, mate. Didn't mean anything to Paco, I suppose. Hola, she says. Amarillo Golf, por favor, mate. Now, just for you listening or watching, Amarillo Golf was a place next door. It was the next village, if you like. But at the time, there was no cut-through road. Because cut-through road, or even walking if there wasn't a fence, you could have done it in 2 minutes flat. But to get the taxi, or even if you were walking, because of this middle fence, it would have took you 5 minutes by taxi, probably 20 minutes walking. So, of course, we set off. And I'm still speaking to Paco in Canarian, Spanish, and obviously Paco's speaking to me. The girls in the back of the car, of course, they were speaking English. And suddenly one of the girls turns to the other girl and says, "Here," she says, "there's something I wanted to ask you." So a friend to her says, "It's all right, mate, you can ask me anything you like. These geezers don't talk any English, do you, mate?" Of course, Paco's just turned over and gone, "Care?" Completely oblivious. "Care? What?" So, of course, I'm saying nothing. And she says, "Anyway," she said, what is it you want to ask me about?" She says, because we were thinking, she says, "How come you and Scotty split up?" Of course, I've changed the name. "How come you and Scotty split up?" "Because we thought you was going to get married and all." Straight away, she's come back with, "Who's that dirty bastard?" She says, "I said, don't you fucking mention him to me." She says, "What a bastard," she says. She says, "He's give me one of them fucking STD things." She says, "He's give you a what? She says, you know," she says, "one of them sexually translated diseases." Well, I'm sorry for saying it, but I promise you now, if you could have been me for a moment in the front of that car, I was dying. I had my hands between my legs. I was biting my tongue. I'm trying to remain calm. I didn't want any noises to come out of me, but I was dying. I thought it was hilarious. Paco, however, was completely oblivious to what was going on. Well, I don't want to go into depth of detail, but this one, she started to tell her all the symptoms that she was going through with this problem. And suddenly this one, just as we're approaching the Amarillo Golf stop, she says, "Oh, stop it," she says, "you're making me feel really sick," she said, "because I've been shagging him for the last 6 months." Automatically, within a split second, these two girls, they've gone for each other in the back of the car like two wild cats. It was amazing. Paco's still oblivious. Me holding on for dear life not to laugh. Well, Paco stopped the car. These pair burst out of the car. They're still knocking crap out of each other. Paco's oblivious to what's going on. He's looking at me for some type of help, but I couldn't give him any. Because by the time he's looked back, I've got my head between my knees. The snot hanging down. I'm crying, laughing. I couldn't do a thing. So Paco gets back in the car. I don't know whether he got his money or not. He does a 3-point turn for us to drive back. By this point, I've opened the window. I couldn't help myself. I've looked out the window and said, "All the best, girls. I hope you get your infection sorted out on a wave." Well, they stop fighting. They start throwing bricks after the taxi. Now that, if you can imagine, that was the very first. That was the beginning. But one of the funniest jobs that any person in the world could have ever do. Of course, we drove up the top of the road. Me still crying, laughing, trying to explain to Paco what had gone on. Paco was just, I don't know. He just. Strange. Anyway, we went round a few of the different stops and he pointed out the different areas to me. He introduced me to some of the boys and girls that were driving taxis. And then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was time for me to start my shift. And I was going to be working from 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 4 o'clock in the morning on my own. So, of course, Paco left me to it and wished me all the very best of luck. So now, going back to the problem with somebody with a lisp speaking to you. Have you ever took the time to listen to one of the radios in a taxi? Even in England, have you ever? How any human being can understand what that? Beep. But they all seem to know it. Well, I get in the car, I haven't got a clue. Even though I speak the language fluently, I haven't got a clue. But I'm trying my best. Because I always try my best with everything. I always try my best. There I am driving this beautiful Merc. You know, number 17, it was San Miguel. Driving this beautiful Merc. And it was a pleasure to drive. Feeling great. First day, my job. Couldn't have started any better. My first pickup, I might add, was from just on the outside of the Golf del Sur. In the Chafiras, where I said before, where the petrol station was. At the back of the petrol station, there's a place called Mercadona. Or the local supermarket. Big supermarket. My first pickup was from there. And I've pulled in, and there's a lady waiting. One of your typical old ladies, you know, with the blue rinse and what have you. But obviously Canarian, so it wasn't a blue rinse. And she's got her bags, so I've pulled up, got out the car. I've walked her. Hola. Of course she said, "Hola, cariño, ¿cómo está? Hello, love, how are you?" I said, "Muy bien, gracias." And I've opened the boot. You know, as you do, it's trying to be nice. I've got the bags, put the bags in the boot, shut the boot. Open the door for her, she's got in the car. And I've gone and got in the car at the side of her, shut the door. And I turned and I said, "¿Dónde vamos?" You know, where are we going? And I've looked. And you know when horror hits you, and all I saw was a flea. God, I never forget it. A knit. And it crawled from one eyebrow straight to the other. And she told me where she wanted to go, but of course, I can't tell you the way I felt. It was like, okay. And I drove her. She wasn't far away from what I can remember. I drove and I dropped her off and I took the money off her. I couldn't make that taxi go fast enough. As I said, I lived in Los Abrigos, which is just next door. I flew home. I ran in. I went up the stairs. I took my clothes off. I put them in a plastic bag. I had a shower. And then I took my clippers. And I went, number one, or whatever, all the way down. Cut my hair off. You can imagine. This is absolutely the truth. Got redressed in clean clothes, what have you. Got back in the taxi. I was still panicking. Gone and got some spray, fly spray. Just spray it just to make sure there's nothing in the car. I felt awful. But I got back in the car and I drove myself back to work. You can imagine though, the drive back to work, it was only a few minutes. All I was doing was laughing. It was like a video play that kept going over and over in my mind. The nervousness, the meeting pack-up, the lisp, the two girls that were obviously going on about the STD and all this, ridiculous. Then the flea and it dawned on me, I was actually entering into one of the funniest jobs in the world. And I had my laptop with me. And if any of you've seen an estate Mercedes, you open the boot, you lift the little thing up at the back, and it's like you've got your spare tyre, and then you've got this little sort of well. I just put my laptop in there, it was great. So that was when I started to write this book. I thought if I keep a day-to-day account of all the silly things that are going to happen in this job, it'll all mount up. Of which I did, like I said, book. So that was day one. Next thing, I'm still on day one. Later on in the evening, I get a call for Santa Barbara. So off I go. Santa Barbara being a timeshare resort at the bottom of this lollipop, as I mentioned before. And I pulled up, and lo and behold, English family get in. I've done no more than gone, hola. They were only going to San Blas. Now, San Blas was the commercial centre, like I said before, with the bars, what have you, in the centre of the Golf del Sur, in this lollipop. Walking distance, yes, maybe 5 minutes or so, but taxis were cheap and easily, 2 minutes. So, as I started to drive, the guy in the shop, in the back of the car says to me, "Hey mate, do you speak English?" I couldn't help myself. When you sometimes wake up and you can feel the horns growing here. I got to, okay. He says, "Do you speak English?" I've gone, editor. He says, "Do you know the English taxi driver?" I go, "English? No." He says, "Yeah, English taxi driver." And I just started laughing. I couldn't keep it up at the time. That might be me. That he went, he's an El Bastardo. That's you. These people were obviously on the Amarillo Golf in the bar earlier on, and these girls obviously there's something gone on, and they were going on about this English bastard taxi driver, which was me. So of course you can imagine. I've got tears in my eyes here. This was the beginning, and the beginning was just amazing. The end of the night, my first night, I should say 4 o'clock in the morning when the night shift finished. We had to meet back at Las Chafiras, the petrol station. And it was a ritual that we all went through. You'd pull on the forecourt, you'd clean your car, polish your car, everything inside, outside, hoover it, make sure there's water in it, what have you. Then you drive and get in the queue, and then you go through the car wash itself, and then you chamois it down to make sure it was gleaming, and then you do your change over to what's called a patron, or to the owner of the taxi, and he'd work the morning shift. I'll never forget the feeling, and maybe if any one of you out there drive for a living, then you'll understand. I'll never forget this feeling. I pulled up in the car. I'd just been driving, if you like, for however many hours it was, 12 hours, with not that many stops really, we're that busy. And I pulled up. I've put the handbrake on, which in a Mercedes is really weird because it's your left foot. It's like you go click and that's it, your handbrake's on. Put the car in neutral, turned it off. I've got out of the car And as I stood up, I've instantly turned and grabbed hold of the car. I thought it was rolling. It's a weird feeling. I don't know what they call it, motion sickness, but I actually had that the first night. But I had it for a good few nights. But that was the beginning. And obviously that was chapter 3. And I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Chapter 4 is going to follow. See you soon. Peace.